King Spawn is bringing one of the darkest comic book characters back to the big screen. But this isn't just another attempt at an adaptation, it's a completely new direction that could shake up the entire comic book movie landscape. If it comes together the way it should, this film won't just step away from Marvel and DC's familiar playbook, it'll prove that today's audiences are ready for bold, mature, and auteur-driven stories. And that's especially true right now. The modern comic book crowd isn't made up of kids anymore. The average viewer is around 26. People who grew up on Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, the first Iron Man, and those early Marvel blockbusters. That generation's tastes have changed. They want something heavier, darker, and more layered. And that's exactly what King Spawn is promising to deliver. The core of this project goes back to Todd McFarlane's original comics, which were never just about a hero saving the world. They were about the eternal war between heaven and hell, the corruption of power, the fragility of humanity, and the cost of redemption. That's what makes King Spawn so different. It challenges the idea that heroes have to be noble or flawless. Al Simmons, the man who becomes Spawn, is the complete opposite. He's an anti-hero scarred by betrayal, death, and the endless fight for his soul. The movie's coming from Blumhouse, the studio that redefined modern horror over the past decade. Jason Blum has been talking for years about wanting to move beyond small-scale horror and build lasting franchises. And after the massive success of Five Nights at Freddy's, which proved that dark fan-favorite IPs can bring in serious box office numbers, King Spawn looks like the next evolution of that plan. The script's already done, written by Matt Mixon, Malcolm Spellman, and Scott Silver. That lineup alone tells you this movie isn't aiming for a lighthearted superhero ride. It's going to be darker, grittier, and way more adult. Todd McFarlane himself is attached as a creative producer, keeping a close eye to make sure the story stays faithful to the source material. Originally, the film was simply titled Spawn, but it's now officially moving forward as King Spawn, a direct nod to the comic arc of the same name. Think of it as a soft reboot. In that storyline, Al Simmons has survived countless betrayals and battles, finding himself in the middle of a massive war between heaven and hell. But this time, he's not just another pawn, he's a potential king. The arc forces him to choose between staying a servant in someone else's game, or taking control of his fate and leading a new generation of spawns. That story was packed with symbolism and scale. It wasn't just demons and angels clashing. It was about Simmons realizing his true place in the cosmic order. It featured cults trying to open the gates of hell, unseen forces manipulating events from the shadows, and one haunting question: can a man cursed for eternity truly become a leader? It's clear that much of that spirit is making its way into the movie. From everything the creative team has hinted at, King Spawn won't rely on spectacle or CGI fireworks. It's going to dig deep into the philosophical and tragic heart of the story. McFarlane has always said Spawn isn't about saving the world, it's about surviving in it, fighting for what's left of your soul, and holding on to whatever humanity you still have. That's why King Spawn feels like more than just another adaptation. It's shaping up to be a full-blown dark superhero drama, a blend of horror, noir, and supernatural action wrapped around heavy moral questions. If it lands the way it's being built up, this could be something in the same league as Joker, only darker, more mystical, and far more supernatural. The latest draft of the script, written by Silver, Spellman, and Mixon, is likely already locked in. We know because Blumhouse actually shared the script's title page online, and in Hollywood, that kind of move usually means real progress. At this stage, it's safe to say King Spawn is heading straight into pre-production, with concept art, budgets, and early shoot planning already underway. King Spawn is still a gamble. Spawn's a cult icon, but he's never really been mainstream. Sure, he's had a comeback thanks to Mortal Kombat and his legendary 90s comic book status, but to the average moviegoer, he's still more of a niche anti-hero than a name like Batman or Spider-Man. And honestly, that's what makes this exciting. Spawn's not boxed into one genre. He can work in dark fantasy, horror-tinged war stories, military action, or even psychological thrillers. Straight superhero action is possible too, but it's probably the least interesting option for a character this tragic. Just think back to HBO's animated Spawn series. Al Simmons was a broken man who'd lost everything, and that raw, emotional weight is what made it stand out. The good news is that everything points to the movie embracing that same dark, heavy tone. Blumhouse has never been afraid of taking risks, and Todd McFarlane has said multiple times that the film will go for a hard R rating. That move makes total sense in today's world. Films like Logan and Joker prove that R-rated comic book movies don't push audiences away, they pull them in. Studios have stopped seeing the R as a limitation and started treating it like a badge of distinction. Blumhouse itself has evolved too. The studio built its empire on low-budget horror that could explode at the box office if it hit big, but now it's chasing larger, riskier projects, stories that demand scope, ambition, and serious production value. Spawn fits perfectly into that new vision. It's mature, grounded, and packed with enough mythological weight to justify a big cinematic treatment. One of the biggest fan debates right now is whether the film will show Spawn's classic origin story or skip it entirely like so many modern superhero movies. Lately, Hollywood's been ditching origins to jump straight into the action, but with Spawn, that might be a mistake. His story is his identity. Al Simmons was a loyal soldier betrayed by his own people, murdered, and sent to hell. His deal with Malebolgia and his tragic rebirth are the emotional foundation of the entire character. Without those moments, Spawn loses what makes him resonate. The first 10 or 15 minutes of the movie absolutely need to show that fall from grace, or the audience won't feel the full weight of who he is. Casting only makes things more interesting. Jamie Foxx has been attached to play Spawn for nearly a decade. He was first announced back in 2015 and has said many times that he loves the role and still wants to do it. He's got the presence and intensity to pull it off, no question. But the project has gone through so many rewrites and creative resets that nothing's guaranteed anymore. There's a real chance Blumhouse and McFarlane might want to start fresh with someone new. As it stands, Foxx returning as Spawn feels like a 50-50 shot. And honestly, anything can still change. The script's now in new hands, and the movie's being shaped as a major studio event, something clearly built to kick off a potential franchise. That's why it's too early to lock in casting or even name a director. What we do know is that Blumhouse sees King Spawn as a major tentpole project, not a small side experiment. McFarlane even mentioned that the studio is hunting for an A-list director, someone established and battle-tested, not a newcomer trying something experimental. That alone shows how seriously they're taking it. From day one, King Spawn is being built to play on the world stage. Story-wise, if they follow the tone of the King Spawn arc, we'll probably see a movie that mixes grounded tragedy with big supernatural world building. Al Simmons' journey could start as a gritty, military-style revenge story before spiraling into something cosmic, where he discovers that his soul is trapped in an eternal war between heaven and hell. That's where Spawn really shines, when it feels like a cross between a horror film, a war drama, and a twisted mythological epic. The best version of this story wouldn't just be about demons and angels fighting, it'd be about Simmons realizing what his humanity is worth when everything around him is gone. There's a lot of room for the plot to explore themes like guilt, identity, and redemption. The ideal setup would follow Simmons returning to Earth, disfigured and lost, trying to reconnect with the world that moved on without him, especially his wife Wanda, who's since remarried. Those quiet, human moments are what make Spawn's darkness hit harder. If the movie balances that emotional side with intense, supernatural action, it could easily become one of the most unique comic book films ever made. Right now, the project seems to be in the concept art and early prep stage. Next up, we'll be finalizing the cast, signing a director, and moving into production. Blumhouse is known for moving fast once things click. Projects can sit in development forever, and then suddenly get funded, scheduled, and rolling within months. So there's a real chance King Spawn could follow that same path. If everything goes according to plan and there aren't any big setbacks, the movie could realistically hit theaters around late 2027. That's just an estimate for now, but judging by how much momentum the project has and how serious the creative team sounds this time, it finally feels like Spawn might escape development hell and actually make his long-awaited return to the big screen.